unbelievable stalwart leader in the U.S., Israel, and Jewish community, the great Steny Hoyer. Very grateful that he is here today. We are blessed to be here with Yasmin and Alana. You'll hear from them in a minute. Our very good friend and former colleague Ted Deutsch, who runs the American Jewish Committee, is here. You'll hear from him. As I know that Meredith Jacobs is here from the Jewish Women International, JWI, a phenomenal organization. They do just such great work. There's people here from the Jewish Federations of North America and FDD. I want to thank them also for their leadership and all they do for the cause. We gathered to commemorate a somber day of loss and tragedy and to continue our fight for the 48 hostages still in Gaza. It's fitting that we are also celebrating Sukkot, a day of thanksgiving, remembrance, and community. I'm grateful for all those behind me and around the world who haven't given up hope for a minute and have worked tirelessly to bring all of the hostages home. And to those in the broader community who are committed to never forgetting the October 7th attacks, those we lost on that tragic day and since. I'd especially like to recognize the families joining us here, as I mentioned, including Omar Nutra's family and Alana, a survivor who is with us today fighting for her partner, who's still being held by Hamas terrorists. You'll hear from Alana in a minute. It's hard to believe that it's been 2 years since Hamas terrorists brutally raped, burned alive, decapitated, and murdered more than 1,200 innocent babies, children, women and men, and elderly, including dozens of Americans. The deadliest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. 913 IDF soldiers lost since then, 18 minors left orphaned, 48 still remain hostage in Gaza, as I mentioned, including 2 Americans. It's hard to wrap your head around, but as scripture tells us, you shall not stand by the shedding of your fellow's blood. We will not sit idly by, and we have not sat idly by since the 7th. We will do as we've done every day since. We will keep working until every last hostage is freed. Jewish tradition teaches us that freeing captives is considered not only a mitzvah, but also supreme obligation in Jewish law. We hold the names of those held captive in Gaza close to our hearts and repeat them into America's ears so they may never fade, ever. The photos of every hostage freed, still captive, and those we lost are posted outside my Capitol Hill office. I want every visitor to the United States Capitol to be reminded of them. And as the clock ticks, it's more important to repeat the stories of those like Hirsch, Goldberg Poland, an Israeli-American who would have turned 25 just last week, but was taken hostage and killed. His mother reminds us it's as if everybody is family in this. It is incumbent upon all of us to keep awareness and to keep working to bring them all home. We must never forget. We speak of 24-year-old Avitar David, who was taken during the Nova Music Festival and forced to dig his own grave for Hamas propaganda while being starved and tortured. A freed hostage, Eli Sharabi, said his captors ate like kings, gorging on humanitarian aid intended for civilians, while hostages survived on just a meal a day of moldy bread and crawled through tunnels lined with rats and insects. But as Eli said, surviving is building from lots of small victories. And my constituent, 21-year-old Adon Alexander, who I saw this morning from Tenafly, New Jersey, went to Tenafly High School and endured 584 days of relentless torture and suffering at the hands of Hamas terrorists, but thankfully was brought home. His remarkable courage continues as he returns to serve in the Israel Defense Forces because he refuses, like we won't, to let evil triumph over peace. We must never allow that. We will fight to honor their memory and so many others by molding our pain from that tragic day into action and ensuring that American children know their heroism and the savagery of Hamas terrorists, only by ensuring that true facts, not some social media cooked up fiction, by ensuring they know those facts. We know that it'll never happen again, like the Shoah. We must always shine a light, one that flickers in gold. That's why today I'm proud to announce new bipartisan legislation, the October 7th Gold Medal Act, to award the Congressional Gold Medal, the highest civilian honor bestowed by the United States Congress, to the American hostages and victims of October 7th, including those Americans who survived in captivity in Gaza in recognition of their profound suffering and sacrifice. I'm very grateful that Steny Hoyer has joined me, as so many others have, in that legislation. For more than 2 centuries, our nation has honored exceptional service through the Congressional Gold Medal, a tradition that stands a testament to the values that unite us. This gold medal will properly recognize the suffering and profound sacrifice of those Americans killed and the bravery of those held captive. After hearing the suffering the victims have experienced, those inhumane conditions, and their unwavering spirit to persevere, we cannot let another day go by without recognizing their sacrifice and enshrining our commitment to them. Second, we are introducing a bipartisan resolution in the House today that condemns the atrocities committed by Hamas on October 7th and calls for Hamas to immediately surrender, cease attacking Israel, and release all hostages. It reaffirms Israel's right to self-defense from terrorist threats and any threats that seek her destruction. It also commits to ensuring the humanitarian aid reach innocent Gazans who are being used by Hamas as human shields. Last but not least, it strongly condemns and denounces all instances of anti-Semitism and commits to combating the hatred in all forms. We're proud to have the support of the ADL, the AJC, the Federation, Jewish Women's International, FTD, Hadassah, and the National Council of Jewish Women on this critical bipartisan legislation. Third and finally, and then I will turn it over, we're introducing the bipartisan October 7th Remembrance Education Act today, which will direct the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum to build a model curriculum for schools to teach about the heinous and brutal acts committed on October 7th, about the history of anti-Semitism and how it played a role in the attacks, and about denial and distortion as a form of anti-Semitism in the wake of such attacks. There is so much mis and disinformation out there driving the rise of anti-Semitic hate, from pro-Hamas content on social media to biased anti-Israel reports. This bipartisan legislation will be critical to teaching our children the truth about the tragic events of October 7th. Hamas is to blame for October 7th, not Israel. And to all of the critics and naysayers who haven't missed a chance to scream, yell, and slam Israel, I say to them, where are your voices today? Where are your voices for peace? You must push Hamas to take the deal that Israel has already accepted and that the Arab states and the U.S. support. It will free all of the hostages and force Hamas to lay down their arms. If we work together and bring all the hostages home and ensure Hamas terrorists have no future in Gaza, and that critical aid reaches the hands of Gazans, not the terrorists, then I know here in the greatest country in the world, working together with others, our best days will always be ahead. Hate will lose, righteousness will win. Thank you. God bless you. And now I'm so honored to turn it over to Ilana Grozlewski, a freed hostage and partner of current hostage Matan. Thank you so much.
My name is Ilana Gritsevsky. I am both citizens, Mexican and Israeli. I made Aliyah 16 years ago alone, and on October 7, my life was brutally taken. That day, Hamas kidnapped me and my partner Matan Sangauker. We tried to escape through the window of our safe room to survive, running in different directions. From that moment, I lost all contact with Matan. I hung behind a closet with a blanket, but it was in vain. The terrorists found me. I was beaten, murdered, and taken to Asa on a motorcycle with sexual abuse. For 55 days, I was held in captivity, living in fear, hunger, and deprived of all basic human grace. No fresh air, no sunlight, no showers, barely any food or water. I lose 24 pounds. I lose my hearing in my left ear. My hip was broken. My leg was born. My jaw was dislocated, and they took my soul. Today am I free, but Matan and 47 hostages is still held by Hamas. In order for me to heal, in order for all the released hostages to heal, only when all the hostages are home will we be able to begin healing what has been broken. I am a testimony that bringing home is possible. We won't let them wait any longer. They have no time. we must continue all the efforts to get them back with a deal. People in Israel want this war to end. I am here not just for myself, but for every woman and man who didn't make it home, for every voice which was ignored for 48 hostages is still in Gaza, for their families, for our soldiers. This is not about Israel. This is about humanity, about human rights, about the world. They killed, raped, and kidnapped babies, women, the already innocent people who were simply enjoy a party or the safety of their home. What happened to us could happen to anyone, anywhere. Terrorism, Hamas, does not respect borders or life. On 9/11, the world witnessed the horror of terrorism. And today, 7 and 10, Israel is facing its own 9/11. If we don't do nothing, tomorrow it could be another country. The people of the world, do not stay silent. This is not just Israel. It's a fight for all of us. Let's stand together for freedom and justice. I ask to all the world leaderships, please do not let this chance to free the hostage slip away. Every second matter. Matan and 48 and 47 hostages are waiting for help, waiting to come home. Today is Israel, but tomorrow it could be any country. Please stand with us in this fight for freedom and justice before it's too late. The people of Israel want to see the hostage home and end to the war. Matan, I'm here. Every moment, every moment, every thought. I'm here fighting for you, breathing for you, holding on to the hope that maybe in the darkness you can feel me. Matan, stay strong. Don't lose hope. Your mom, sister, our dog Nuni, and I are all waiting and fighting for you. Thank you.
Next up, to share his words is the great Congressman from Maryland, Steny Hoyer.
Alana, thank you. Today, Israel, who knows who it will be tomorrow? None of us. Orna and Rona Nutra, Representative Gottheimer, thank you very much for leading on the legislation which will ensure that this day of infamy will live in the minds as well as the hearts of all Americans. Meredith Jacobs, thank you for your leadership. Ted Deutsch, our former colleague and my former partner, making sure that the message of peace in the Middle East, peace for the Israeli people, peace for the Arab community is what our objective is. Over the past 2 years, I have visited the site of the Nova Music Festival massacre twice. I have welcomed hostages home after their release. I have mourned with the families of those who did not survive their captivity. I have met with Jews in America, Israel, and beyond, who fear for their safety amid a severe spike of anti Semitism. How can anti Semitism be spiked against the victims? In the United Kingdom, just days ago, we saw that anti Semitic hate led to the murder of Jews while they were worshiping on the holiest day of their year. 2 years have not dulled the pain or the trauma that Hamas unleashed on October 7th. That Hamas unleashed on October 7th. That Hamas unleashed on October 7th. 254 people including 12 Americans taken hostage, and 1,200 plus lost their lives. Countless more were traumatized by the horror of that day. I've spoken to people who were there on the ground in the kibbutz that day. That trauma has grown with every hostage executed, every missile launched, and every day this war has been drawn out by Hamas. This war did not start on our terms, but we must ensure that it ends on our terms. That means securing the return of all 48 hostages, living and dead, still held captive in Gaza, including those who tragically did not survive. Among them are the remains of two Americans, Omer Nutra and Itai Chin. I am grateful that Omer's parents, Orna and Ronan, are here with us today. I've also become good friends of the Hans, Itai's parents, Ruby and Hagit, who are waiting to sit Shiva for their son for whom they grieved in his life, not knowing that he had been killed on the day of the attack, on this day 2 years ago. Crucially, we must end Hamas's brutal rule over Gaza to ensure that October 7th never happens again. Hamas crimes on October 7th tragically have also led to the deaths, injury, and displacement of thousands of Palestinians as well. Hamas has their blood on their hands. We need to come together on a plan to surge aid to innocent civilians in Gaza who have suffered throughout this war. The current peace proposal provides a pathway to achieving these objectives. Hamas must accept it, and they must surrender, and they must give up their arms. They must not be a continuing threat to Israel or to the Palestinian people. We need our Arab partners to make them do that. Today, I pray we can make progress toward a just and lasting peace. A peace that Israel has sought every day from 1948 to today. A lasting peace that benefits both Israelis and Palestinians and the region. I pray, I demand that the 48 hostages be released. It's always right to do the right thing. Right now, those hostages ought to be released on this day. Critically, I pray for all those we lost on October 7th and the 732 days since. May their memories be a blessing. May we keep the faith with humanity and with all the world and Israel.
Now I'd like to call Yasmin up, who's the cousin of current American hostage, Omar Nutra.
My name is Yasmin, and I will be speaking on behalf of Omer's parents, Orna and Ronan Nutra. 2 years have passed since October 7th. 2 years since our son, my cousin, Captain Omer Maxim Nutra, was taken by Hamas. 2 years since terror once again showed the world what happens when hatred goes unchecked. Omer was born in New York City 1 month after 9/11. We were spared then, but almost 22 years later, he became a victim of that same ideology of hate. The same terror that, when left unchallenged, rises again and again in Israel, in Europe, in America, everywhere innocent people live freely and proudly. Omer grew up in New York, a proud American, deeply connected to his heritage, and the grandson of Holocaust survivors who came to Israel as children post World War II, built their lives and the country. Omer was a natural leader, captain of his high school sports teams, regional youth group president, a young man full of light, conviction, and compassion. After deferring his college education in favor of a gap year in Israel, together with Israeli peers and family, Omer made a bold, selfless decision to join the IDF. Guided by his family's history, his morals, and his instinct to protect. On October 7th, 2023, while commanding a small post near the Gaza border called the White House, he and his crew rushed towards danger to defend civilians. Their tank was ambushed, hit by an RPG and other explosives. Their driver killed immediately. The rest of the team, suffocating, was removed from the tank. For 421 days, it was thought that Omer was taken into Gaza alive. On December 1st, 2024, 14 months later, the IDF confirmed he has been killed the same day after being dragged into the tunnels and not receiving the medical attention he needed. Since October 7th, 2023, our lives, like so many others, have changed forever. We put aside our business and dedicated ourselves full time to advocating for Omer and the release of the hostages. We've traveled to Israel more than 10 times, to Washington, D.C. over 40 times, and we've spoken from the largest stages, including the Republican National Convention. Our message has never changed. Keep the hostage issue bipartisan, humanitarian, and urgent, because this is not about politics, it is about life. Today, 2 years later, we sense a shift for the first time. There is a real alignment, recognition that moral center of the war is not territory or politics, but the fate of the hostages. We have seen bold leadership in recent days, willing to act with clarity, urgency, and strength. President Trump has demonstrated that kind of courage, understanding that resolving the hostage crisis is not just a humanitarian necessity, but the key to stability and peace. We need the same moral clarity from all leaders around the world. Because peace cannot begin until the hostages come home. For us personally, there will be no happy ending, but there can be closure and there can be healing. Our advocacy may quiet, but our promise will not fade. We will speak Omer's name for the rest of our lives. His light, his laughter, and his leadership will continue to guide us wherever we go and whatever we do.
Joining us next from the American Jewish Committee and a former congressman and very dear friend, not just of the Jewish people in the fight against anti-Semitism, but of Steny and me and so many here in Washington, Ted Deutsch.
Congressman Gottheimer, thank you very much for convening this very timely, very important event. To you and to Steny, and sorry, to you and Congressman Hoyer.
Steny works.
So it's hard to get over. I want to thank the two of you and your other colleagues who have introduced these three pieces of legislation to honor and remember the victims and to recall what actually happened on October 7th and recommitting to stamp out the hate that we've all witnessed since that terrible day. I also, to my congressional friends, want to extend deep appreciation in a world swimming in moral confusion. I want to extend our deep gratitude for the moral clarity with which you have consistently approached the events of October 7th, the need to speak up, the need to be clear about what happened, and the need for us to always remember we're grateful, so grateful to you both. I also want to extend gratitude to Yasmin and Alana for standing here alongside us today. Words really can't express the depth of sorrow that we feel as we mark 2 years. 2 years we've been going day after day. It's 100 days, 500 days. We're now at the point where we are measuring the number of days that there are 48 hostages now by years. And you're joining us today, and you're reminding us the importance of bringing every one of the 48 hostages home is so critical. We recall the 1,200 men, women, and children, including 46 Americans and citizens of more than 40 countries who were slaughtered that day, and the countless peace activists working for coexistence who were included among those killed. On that day, Hamas used sexual assault as a weapon of war. It took over 250 hostages, including Alana, into their terror tunnels. Now, on the second anniversary of these attacks, we remember the lives that were cut short and those indelibly altered by what happened on that day. The brutality of that day was not just an assault against Israel. It was an assault against humanity itself. And since October 7th, we've also seen relentless attacks against Israel's very right to exist. We've seen a terrifying surge in anti-Semitism. And in this upside down world that we live in, Hamas is so often praised while its hostage-taking atrocities and war crimes are ignored. Today is a reminder that we need to reset the truth. Words matter and leadership matters. And when public figures slander Israel or normalize calls for violence, chants of globalize the Intifada, when there is open praise for Hamas, then they help to create the conditions for violence from Washington to Boulder to Manchester. Leaders have to do more than avoid hateful rhetoric. They have to condemn it unequivocally. That's why I'm proud to be standing here with these members of Congress who understand the life or death consequences that come with the words that we choose, whether in a press conference or on social media. So as we mark this solemn anniversary, we also recommit ourselves to the tireless efforts to bring every one of the 48 remaining hostages home. Over the past week, that goal feels that it has come even closer as we sit at the precipice of a potentially historic moment in the Middle East that will bring the hostages home and that will end the war. President Trump's peace plan has the backing of Arab and Muslim majority countries from the UAE and Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, Pakistan, Indonesia, allies like UK and France in Europe, and of course Israel too has agreed. You've heard already, I'll say it again, Israel didn't start this war. They didn't choose this. They cannot unilaterally lay down their arms. Those who truly support an end to this war need to pressure Hamas to accept this plan. They need to exert maximum pressure on Hamas so that the hostages can come home and the war can finally end. In honor of those who were lost, those who remain in captivity, and those who have returned, the global Jewish community stands proudly and boldly together with you. We stand with Israel over Hamas, with democracy over terrorism, and we stand for life over death. Together, we envision a brighter and more peaceful future for all, for Israel and for the Palestinians, for the region and for the world. And together, if we can pressure Hamas to accept this deal, and the hostages can come home, and the war can end, we can build that secure, peaceful future for everyone.
Another phenomenal leader in the cause from the Jewish Women's International, Meredith Jacobs, and her team who are here and have done so much to pave a way toward peace. Thank you so much, Meredith.
Thank you all. I remember October 2022. I was standing in the White House for the first ever reception for the high holidays. Itzhak Perlman, world renowned violinist, entered the room and began to play Avinu Malkeinu, a supplication for, for mercy and forgiveness. I remember how almost spontaneously, with a whisper and then growing in volume and strength, our voices added to the violin, praying Avinu Malkeinu. I remember looking around the room and saying to myself, don't forget this moment. Don't take it for granted that I, as a Jewish woman, am standing in the White House, surrounded by my Jewish community and praying Avinu Malkeinu. But here's the thing. I did take it for granted. October 2022, I was secure in my place in the world, secure in my safety and acceptance. A year later, October 2023, that sense of belonging and safety was shattered. I remember listening with horrors to the whispers of sexual atrocities committed by Hamas. I remember watching with horror the video of young Israeli girls, young IDF soldiers who were grabbed from their beds and pushed bloodied into trucks bound for Gaza. I remember seeing with horror the photo of a young woman naked and bound, surrounded by terrorists, raising guns